What's going on, guys, and welcome back. Hope you're having a good one. Today, we'll be talking about 10 different cards that are hot and rising in the Marvel Snap meta that can give you a bit of a competitive edge over your opponent on the ladder. Now, all these cards have seen a huge uptick in both their play rate and overall performance, and most of which can be slotted into a wide variety of decks. Now, let's go and start off with number 1 in Iceman. He's not a new meta card by any means, but he's definitely rising up in popularity. Now, just one cost, Iceman counters just so much, right? Devil Dinosaur, Sarah, Magic, the 5-cost cards, even low-cost cards that are awkward to play off curve like Zabu and Daredevil. And then Sandman is such a problem at the moment. Electro, Wave, and Sandman all struggle against Iceman as well. You don't see the value, but it is always there, and due to the popularity of the majority of cards that I just listed is what has skyrocketed Iceman to even further levels of competitive play. Guys, zero exaggeration, Iceman can legit go into any deck. At number 2, we've got Super Skrull, all aboard the hype train. It's his meta, and we are just living in it, guys. With Darkhawk and Rocks and Hawks and Devil Dino, Ironman, and then Galactus with Null. He does so much under one card's blanket and is definitely a hot and rising card. Probably the biggest on today's list. The guy got nearly no play, and now he's booming. Now, this card has been out since December, but it just dropped into Pool 3 at the perfect time. As you know, currently one of the most popular decks at the moment is Rocks and Hawks, and right now Super Skrull can take heavy advantage of Devil Dinosaur, Darkhawk, and Mystique. He gets all of the bonuses. Now, he doesn't take other Super Skrull bonuses for those that wonder, but you also have a huge presence in the meta of Blue Marvel, Iron Man, and like I said before, Null with Galactus decks. In just one card, he offers so much counters, and he can be a bit tough to squeeze into some decks, but most of the time, he carries his weight. Now, those worried about Enchantress taking over Super Skrull or shutting him down, you're not wrong, but at the same time, guess what deck Enchantress is most likely in? It's going to be a Sarah deck in which Super Skrull can take that. I do think they both have their own purposes in that sense, especially because Enchantress is played more on turn 6. You're not going to see her in the early turns as much, so Super Skrull should be fine, and that does take us to our next card. Now, at number 3, we have Leader, and again, this is in no order, but of course, we had to put Leader on the list. He just had a huge buff that really brought him back into Marvel Snap. The guy was dead. The card was dead. And here we are, a hot and rising card. Leader plays best when he isn't expected. And right now, that isn't a hell of a lot. People forget that Leader got buffed, and they don't really think about him on turn 6, which is awesome because right now, a bunch of these meta decks are finishing with Doctor Doom and large hit monkeys, Null, Death, Magneto. It's all great on a turn 6 finish that Leader can copy and truly gives him a chance to shine. Truly a fantastic plug-and-play card that does fit into most decks that are concentrated on priority. I like him best in control-style decks like Daredevil as a good synergy card, as well as obviously the Sandman, Odin, Electro combo. But She-Hulk can always work great as you can play her and Leader at the same time, giving you a large amount of power to match what the opponent did. Oh, guys, Enchantress. Now, she's always been a decent tech card option depending on the meta, but simply put, she wasn't being played. Well, Marvel Snap doubled down on the Green Queen, bringing her up to a 4/6. This is surely going to give her a firm spot as a premier tech card. Now, this is definitely going to increase her overall usage exponentially, and, well, she's the hot new card. We're going to have to see how everything settles out, but obviously ongoing decks and cards are going to fall down just a little bit. Now, surprising enough, at number 5, we have Professor X, and you guys know I've always loved my Patrick Stewart. But right now, it's like the perfect season, and he's definitely rising up in play. Simply put, guys, Control is in a fantastic spot at the moment, and the ability to not only win a lane early, but now you can add to that lane, but also closing off valuable board space is absolutely incredible. Professor X also gets a lot of help in the synergy department with not one, but 2 brand new cards that help him immensely. Both Jeff and Negasonic are cards that fit perfectly. Negasonic is great in Daredevil, which synergizes with Professor X, and it kind of saves you a spot for that lane to steal it, as well as Jeff the Shark obviously can go into Professor X lanes. And then obviously, guys, Mr. Fantastic, Spectrum, these other ways to boost Professor X has always been great as well. Now, at number 6, Destroyer is naturally making a comeback because of the rise of Leader. There's not a more fun interaction than having your opponent copy this and destroy their entire board. Obviously, Galactus is a great home as an alternate win condition, but at the same time, he's seeing a lot of rise in ongoing and control decks. Now, guys, Destroyer is one of the easiest lists to run in Marvel Snap, both at a collection standpoint as well as just how easy and linear the deck plays, and it's starting to see a nice comeback. Now, it can stack tall against decks like Sandman, and it usually has about 2 lanes with enormous power. Now, tie that all together with its synergy cards like Nimrod, it fits into Galactus decks, Knoll, Sandman decks, and the return of Leader makes him an easy rising card this season. Now, it's so funny to me that a card that has not changed like Ironman at number 7 is on a hot and rising list, and it's like we forgot about him. He's in the starter deck, but guys, the double power is simply so damn good. Now, I will say we are seeing less Shang-Chi because of the Shuri nerf, but it doesn't take away from how good Iron Man is. And really, the best part is this is one of, if not the best plug-and-play card because, well, it's going to double any power, right? There are some locations out there that this strictly just wins, and Scorpion's being played less, so those -1 Iron Mans that are a bit wonky, you're seeing a lot less as well. Simply put, we're seeing him across just all these different archetypes, which is why I'm going to give him a new hot and rising status. Yes, he's been in the game forever. Yes, some people have played him, but right now he's kind of everywhere, and it's on purpose. Now, as far as his synergy cards, pretty obvious, right? Bast, which we just talked about. Onslaught is just a free lane with Iron Man. Mr. Negative is clearly one of his favorites, and then Valkyrie just giving him that free 3 power to end that lane, giving you a little bit of a boost to take it from the opponent. Now, we slowly started to see the rise of Bast at the end of last season, but now she's in Pool 3. Everybody can get their hands on her, and she's a great card to slot into a wide variety of decks, combined with Hitmonkey obviously having good synergy. Bast is being played at an extreme rate at the moment and is a very solid card to be slotting in. The best part is Bast will always have her value as a card as more 0 to 2 power cards come out with incredible abilities. Most of the time, the cards with low power have really game-changing abilities, and that's what gives Bast such a competitive edge. Although she does give some of your strategy away, right? When you see a Bast, you kind of know what's going to come after her, but it doesn't really matter. She's able to do what she does best, and that is high power without being in that Shang-Chi zone. We're seeing a huge uptick in her consistent win rate, and definitely a card I love to play as well. Now, next up, we have Hitmonkey for a hot and rising, and not every Season Pass card would make the list, but Hitmonkey's season has been huge for what he can do in combo decks, Bounce, Sarah. Hitmonkey feels like the perfect Season Pass card from top to bottom, not being too crazy overpowered, but also feeling not too weak as well. Obviously, he's going to fit into a lot of decks as just a solid 2-cost card. That you're most likely going to get that 6 power value out of him. People are kind of fixated on these giant miracle plays at the end, but guys, just play Monkey when it works best to get the value there. Now, obviously, his synergy cards, Bishop, Mysterio, She-Hulk, Sarah, and Beast, a lot of these could have been on the hot and rising cards as well because Hitmonkey is bringing them to the meta, right? Mysterio is virtually played like 50% more at this point. Altogether, love Hitmonkey as a card, and I think as we fade from this Season Pass, he's only going to get better because he's not in the spotlight and he's able to just be a good, solid meta deck. Lastly, with Lizard's latest nerf, this is going to make Hitmonkey one of, if not the best 2-cost card, reliably getting up to 6 power. Now, last up, we have Sentry, who's probably the biggest sleeper on our list. Now, he had a huge bump up in both power and with the -10 Void. If you happen to be able to play the Viper play and Sin for 2 energy, a 12 total power difference, it's game-changing and most likely game-winning. On top of that, he has great power. You have Cosmo, Invisible. There's a lot of ways to stop this card from sitting the Void, especially if you fill up the lane. Very solid card overall, and definitely one that I recommend going for. Now, somehow, Sentry got this major boost in stats, and I'm telling you guys, it's all just been under the radar. I think there's so many ways to get other cards that cost 4 and give you 10 power. Now, they all come with some sort of a con, but I feel like Sentry's is pretty easy to navigate. Now, you're not going to play him in every deck, but I feel like compared to the 4-cost cards, the decks that he does belong in, he truly does shine. And like I said, the synergy that he has with, let's say, Carnage, or obviously Viper, or even Zabu, Valkyrie, Cosmo, he works in a lot more than you would think, and I think as more people start to unlock him, you're going to see him kind of creep into more decks. Disrupt is definitely starting to be in the meta. It isn't full-blown taking over the meta, but I would say in the next month or two, we're going to start to see Disrupt just really gaining popularity. Now, let's go ahead and end with some honorable mentions. Of course, we have to talk about some cards that nearly made today's list. We have things like Scorpion, who went up a lot in value with Lizard going down. Sauron with Shuri's nerf is definitely making his way back into decks. And combine that with Enchantress, and you've got yourself a very solid Core 0 deck that doesn't only need Shuri anymore. Now, on top of that, Valkyrie is the new tech card going down to Pool 3 and having a huge increase in popularity. And then, of course, we have the Zoo couple with their recent buffs. I think we're going to see a bit more competitive Zoo. Not exactly the best deck in the game, with Killmonger always having a presence, but still very solid all around. And then lastly, Onslaught with all these ongoing cards and decks. He's starting to find his way back, especially as a card that you cheat out with Lockjaw. So there you go, guys. That is my top 10 hot and rising cards for the month of April. If you like this new series, let me know down below and we'll make it a regular in the bunch of videos that we do here. And I want to thank you guys for stopping by and spending your time on the channel. As always, good luck out there in the ladder, and until the next one, happy snapping.